Alrighty, so I just watched Bob World Builder's video on traveling, and he went the distance. He went a whopping 24 miles, I believe. And the thing was, though, is that he didn't do it in 8 hours, but there was a reason for that. It's because of his hair. He has way too much hair. As glorious as it is and as beautiful as it is, and I'm just super jealous of it, it slowed him down. But that's where I've got the edge. I have less hair, and thus I'll be able to move quicker. So, I'm going to be documenting my series of adventuring over the course of each hour. I'm going to be showing off where I am and talking about some things. I'm sure I'm going to be complaining a lot, but that's to be expected when you're traveling 24 miles. And of course, I will be wearing some gear. I've only got a 30-pound backpack, so the usual adventuring accoutrement. Nothing too major. So, let's get started. Well, this is the hour 1 update. I'm not actually looking at how far I'm going because I want to keep that completely a mystery to myself, because that'll drive me, you know, if I don't know. So, some things I want to talk about is recently Sly Flourish of Mike Shea, or Mike Shea of Sly Flourish, recently put out a video talking about going on hikes to inspire yourself, to think about things. And I agree. Going on a hike is a great way to get the creative juices flowing. When you take a step away from the computers and the phones and don't even listen to music, you just listen to nature and think to yourself, I think you're going to come up with some awesome and creative ideas for your next session. Going on hikes like these is definitely a great way to go about that. Alrighty, 2 hours in, and it's been a nice warm-up, you know? Still don't know exactly how far I went. I looked a little while ago and I'm doing okay, you know. As per written, a 5e character can move 1 mile in 15 minutes, which is a relatively quick time, but, you know, it's not impossible. So, what's interesting is the Roman legions, the famed Romans, they would march 20 miles a day, but they only carried 50 to 60 pounds of gear. Me personally, I'm only carrying 30 today because I don't want to break myself or anything. But think about that. Do you think a commoner, the common person, whether that be a peasant or someone from a metropolis city or whatever, do you really think that they can march 24 miles in a day with 150 pounds of gear? I don't think so. 3 hours in, it is now 1:02 in the p.m. Ooh-wee, I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs, but I'm still kicking. So I just passed by someone semi-recently, and they said that they're joining the army. And I asked them, oh, what job are you going to be? He said, infantry or intelligence. And I laughed at that because think about how polarizing extremes those are, right? You have someone that's doing all the grunt work, and then you got someone doing all the brain work. And then that got me thinking, isn't that crazy that most people are statted as somewhat commoners, but when you join the military, your stats shoot up? If he joins the infantry, then his strength and dex are going to go up quite a bit. And if he joins intelligence, then his intelligence and wisdom are going to go up a bit. And who knows, maybe you can slide in a little bit of charisma too. And 4 hours in, I am halfway there. Woo-wee! You know, honestly, the more you go, the less worse it gets. It's kind of like this thing where it sucks right off the beginning, but it goes up slightly, but it doesn't suck as much. It's just one of those things. You know, it's funny. In older editions of D&D, you actually had a rest phase for when you were crawling around in a dungeon. You basically could move a certain number of spaces, and then you'd have to take a moment to rest. I'd be actually curious to see that make a return, because I feel like dungeon crawling is a lost art in 5th edition. You know, it is called Dungeons and Dragons after all. Let's make the dungeons awesome, alright? Oh, and let's hope that the rest of this march goes on fine. Alrighty, 5 hours in, and now I'm gonna start complaining. Yeah, my feet hurt, but you know what hurts even more? Is the fact that Bob World Builder, Fry Minis, Dungeon Dad, oh goodness, and Steely Sam, look at these scumbags. Look at them. They have hair, they have a background with nice stuff in it, they have chairs that they get to sit in when they record. Ugh. Absolute scumbaggery, if you ask me. Must be so nice living all the way up there in that ivory tower of y'all's. My oh my, maybe someday, maybe one day, I can have even just one of those, but it is not this day. Alrighty, 6 hours in. It is 4:02, only 2 hours to go. Woo-wee. You know, like I said before, it gets harder, but now I can't tell if it's stagnating or not. My feet hurt more and more, but the more that I'm closer to the end, the easier it seems to be. Oh, goodness gracious. You know, I would not be doing this out here on my own, but what is motivating is knowing that at least a few people are going to watch this. At least I hope a few people watch this anyway. Because when you're just walking by yourself, it is pretty sad. But it gives me time to reflect, it gives me time to think. And I think of course, the times that I have hiked with my friends, and it's a lot more fun because you get to pal around and you get to complain with everybody else and you get to have a not so good time. But it's together. Woo! 7 hours in, 5:02. And funnily enough, I'm actually at the exact location where I filmed my running with gear video. It's funny, I've got all these paths near me that I can walk around. My goodness, 7 hours. I cannot wait to see the final result because this was one of the tougher videos to make. Not the toughest, funnily enough, but this has definitely been one of the toughest videos to make. And it was more off the cuff, as it were. I did do a little bit of preparation, but the funny thing is, you know, I do maybe like an hour of prep. I do the 8 hours of this walking, and I'll probably spend another maybe hour or two on editing the video, uploading it, creating the thumbnail. I'm still really bad at thumbnails, holy crap. I need to hurry up and hire an editor. Alrighty, it is 5:30 and I am on the home stretch. Let's see how well we're doing. I'm actually really excited. Once again, you know, incredible pain and all that, but pain is just a memory. That's the important part. Alrighty, sitting down after 8 hours of marching actually feels pretty awesome, even though I am sitting on the cold, hard ground. So, unfortunately, gang, I did not go 8 hours marching. But I still did 24 miles. Because it turns out if you just march and march and march, then you can power through it. The thing is, though, is would I recommend that? Absolutely not. You should be taking breaks in between. You should be, you know, stretching properly. You should be doing all those things. It's just that I want to power through it because I've got more important things to do today. So, there you have it. I did the 24 miles in the span of 8 hours, and technically less here. And I realistically could have gone more. I could have started shuffling a bit more. I could have done a little bit better. But that's the thing, is I didn't need to. You shouldn't need to. And I think I proved that, you know, it's possible. The thing to consider is back in the day, people had to walk because that's how people had to get by. But with today's day and age technology, you don't need to be fit enough to march 24 miles in a day. There's really no purpose for it. There's no reason to be able to do it. I want to do it because I like doing that stuff. I like challenging myself, and you know, I honestly had some really great ideas as I was walking along. So I definitely stored up a lot of cool things that I've got planned in the future, and this was a fun time. So thank you all for who joined me on that journey. It probably wasn't as taxing watching it in those little few minutes there, but it definitely was exciting. It was really interesting for me because as I went along, obviously it sucked in the beginning. It sucked so much because I just saw that the finish line was just so far away. But at pretty much the halfway point, then I was like, oh wow, I'm already halfway done. I kind of just blinked over it. That's awesome. And then just kept on going and going and going, and then boom, just like that, here we are. I did it in the span of however long it took. I think I had like 30 minutes to spare or so. Whew, yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of fun things in the future, and if you have not and you are interested,
then join up in my Discord and watch that video on how you can earn a Wild Beyond the Witchlight book for free. That is going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a blast to film, and I worked up quite a sweat. That's totally awesome. Thank you so much for listening. It was quite a journey. Thank you to my amazing patrons who helped me through everything. They are really the ones keeping the lights on here because I am poor as can be, and this really helps out. So thank you all so much. Thank you all. This was absolutely a blast. Thank you. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.